Greetings, kings and queens. Welcome back to the Always a Queen, the Metamorphosis platform. Happy Sunday to you all, wherever you are watching, whether you are viewing us on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitter. Thank you for being here and share this live because why not? It's going to be interesting. I'm already predicting because it's definitely not the live that I had planned. So let's start with that because I know in a couple of seconds 10, 9, 8, 7, there are going to be questions in the chat section regarding the panelists that you saw advertised. So before you ask, let me just get ahead of you. Let me just get ahead of that because the only person here is Kadeem. Why is that? Well, unfortunately, it appears that the other panelists were not able to make it today. This is life. You know, you have to make room for life. Life will happen. Sometimes things just don't go according to plan. Isn't that how it works, Kadeem? Sometimes that's just how it goes.
It is what it is. The
It
show
is
must.
what it is. And the show must go on, right? So, unfortunately, the panelists that we had lined up today, well, at least two of them, were not able to make it today. And so it's just Kadeem and I. And so, in true resilience. In the name of resilience, not only is the show going to go on, but we at the very last minute have decided to just throw a little twist and proceed with the discussion that we had planned, but just doing it from a different perspective. So, as you all know, Kadeem is single, he is not married. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to proceed with our discussion. We are going to talk about infidelity today, cheating, in other words, the side chicks and the side dudes. We're going to address that today. And we're going to do it with Kadeem. All right. And of course, I encourage you to interact with us in the chat section. Tell us what you think. Ask us your questions. I want to hear your thoughts. So, we're going to talk about this from the perspective of the singleton, Kadeem. And I guess I could throw in my perspective as a married woman. You know, we really wanted to get the male perspective here, but why not? I will share my thoughts on the whole infidelity cheating issue. So let's jump right into it. The first question I had on my list, I don't know if Kadeem can answer this, but the first question I was going to ask the panelists today was why do men cheat? Why do they do it? Why?
You know, I love that question because it's the question that's often asked. It's not necessarily why people cheat, but why men in particular cheat. And it also presupposes that women don't cheat as well. In the we speak about cheating, it's very often, oh, a guy, you know, many-ish, things like that. It's always in that context. And for men out there, I just like to put it out there that it's not that women don't cheat, it's just that women do it much better. So if we can all establish that and just accept that as a truism, then we can, I think, on that backdrop, discuss men and their cheating habits. I think quite often men are taught to value infidelity or to use infidelity as a means of securing and promoting and reassuring themselves in terms of their manhood. I think that's something that society has somewhat inculcated in us as men. And there
Mhm.
are women who I think also desire that as a prerequisite for their relationship. I think there are women out there who see men do this and they find them desirable. Um, and I think that there are women out there who don't hold men accountable for it. And because of that, it is perpetuated. So uh, I guess I have made several suggestions there. One, society encourages it. Two, there's some women who encourage it and tolerate it. And I guess the last one is some men are just cheaters and they don't know any, they weren't taught better. They weren't taught to honor the relationship. So between those, I think women out there may have to choose or try to discern where they're at, with whom they're with.
I have so many things to say and so many questions to ask. Listen, hold on. So, because you said a whole mouthful there, I'm going to say first of all that I agree. I 100% agree with this school of thought. Greetings, Natasha. Welcome, Queen. Thank you for being here. Um, the school of thought that our men are to a large extent socialized to become womanizers, I think is true. I agree with this school of thought. I feel like the way we socialize our boys very much gives way to that kind of behavior. I think you are correct in that this type of behavior is applauded in males. Um, I think there are times when people even suggest that doing the opposite, not having multiple partners, not having a woman here, there, and everywhere, somehow is soft. You're not doing the thing that men are supposed to do. It's somehow it somehow, I don't know, makes you less of a man. It reduces your masculinity in some way. Like, I don't know. But there is that notion out there that multiple partners somehow says that it makes you more desirable, if I could put it that way. And so I think that that definitely contributes to the cheating culture that might exist among men. And I would like to say that I do think that because of this, men do cheat more. I would never suggest that women do not cheat. They do. They do. They do. I mean, don't come for me in the comment section, people, because it's true. They do. Women cheat. And I speak not just as a woman myself. I'm a therapist. I've met clients who have cheated on their men, on their husbands, on their partners. It happens. So both genders do cheat. I don't know why anybody would think that only men cheat. That is definitely a fallacy. That is the most erroneous thing. And why wouldn't women cheat? Like, is there some kind of clause that precludes them from cheating? Like, no, there is not. Both cheat. I do, however, think that men cheat more. I don't think they cheat more because they are somehow um, worse than women. That is not it. I don't think that's the reason that they cheat more. I think the reason they cheat more is because society cushions male cheating more than it cushions female cheat. As a matter of fact, I would say that there is no cushion provided for a woman who cheats. A woman who cheats is risking being ostracized, not just by society, but by her family, even. It is frowned upon. It is the worst act that she could commit. A woman, or a woman who has multiple partners, the names that she would be referred to as, I mean, she becomes the worst of the worst. She's risking becoming an outcast, you know. The man, on the other hand, is actually applauded. He's a man's man because he has 10 women. And so there is that cushion that he has to fall back on, that society provides. And that cushion is not available to the female. And I think this is the reason why men cheat more. It's not necessarily because men are worse than women in any way. I think they're pretty much the same. But I think women who dare to cheat are daring to do so at higher risk than men are. And as a result of that, the numbers are significantly less among women. But make no mistake, women cheat too. Now, you suggested that women are better at cheating and that's why they don't get caught. I feel some type of way about that.
But
What you trying to say? I don't know. What you trying to say?
you
Hi,
know,
Kelly.
I only peddle that viewpoint because a woman proved it to me. That's the only reason that I peddle that viewpoint, because
Say more.
she explained that men, because they're emotionally less mature, they are not able to manage the emotional commitment to a side piece and the main squeeze. So over time, you find that the affection that he shows for either wanes depending on the emotional or physical attraction for either. So women can pick that
I
up.
like that. I
Right?
can Lee's comment.
For women, they're able to manage those emotional connections far better than a man can. Not only that, they also have their wing women who, without a whim, will vouch for them as well. So the
Wait,
t-
hold on. What?
yeah, I'm telling you, like a woman's approach to cheating is on a cerebral level. So it's thought through, it's thought out, it is methodic. But a man's approach to cheating is often impulsive.
Mm.
While there may be a lead up, it is not a well thought out lead up. It is a lead up out of frustration, out of longing, or out of wanting, and an opportunity presents itself, and there you go. I think quite often the intent behind the cheating is very different for women and men.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm going to say that I agree with that final statement. I feel like I could possibly agree with what you said before that too. That if a woman is going to cheat, if a woman is going to cheat, it's not usually spontaneous. It's rare that a woman will spontaneously cheat. A man will spontaneously cheat. He goes out and he just meets somebody, and on a whim, he just ends up cheating, having some one night stand or something. It's not impossible, but very rare that women spontaneously cheat.
Mm.
A woman who is cheating normally has thought it through. And the reason I say this is because I think they cheat. Men and women tend to cheat for very different reasons. At least that is what I have come across in my practice for persons who have come in for counseling for infidelity, couples who have come in for infidelity. I have found that the men and the women, when you look into their reasons for cheating, typically it's very different. Very different. The women are often cheating because of emotional abandonment issues. Typically, there is some need, and typically an emotional need, that is not being met in the home that someone on the outside is meeting. And that often leads to physical infidelity, which started with emotional infidelity. And we can talk about that in a moment because infidelity is not just physical. So there's that. And I know some people disagree with that, but it's a fact. I mean, you can't get away from it. It is what it is. Um, the men, on the other hand, their reasons for cheating, it can also be emotional abandonment within their relationship. That can happen with the men too. But more often, I have found that it is not necessarily dissatisfaction with emotional fulfillment, but dissatisfaction with other things, logistical things. Um, often physical things as well. They don't feel like they're getting the satisfaction that they want in the bedroom or in the home in general. You know, that's why I say it's more logistical stuff. They're just fed up sometimes. They're fed up with the routine. They're fed up with the get up, go to work, pick up the kids, drop the kids off, take the kids to soccer, take the kids to ballet, come home. You know, it's that sometimes it's the logistics that they're sick of. Like they're over it
There's something
and they
rather
want
in,
to escape.
if you don't mind me saying, there's something I find rather intriguing. And now when I speak to groups in small group sessions, or if I give a motivational talk, I'm very mindful that I have to speak to two types of men. The you have the baby boomers, and but let's put it this way: people who were born in the 1980s and beyond, and before, and you have those who are born 1990s and beyond, who I think, and perhaps I may broaden that to 1980s to present, and before the 1980s, because there are different levels of sensibility that I think we are seeing now with men, and different desires. I overheard a conversation about love languages, and one guy saying, hey, my love language is affirmation, and he needs his children to say, I see you, and his wife to be able to say, look, you provided for me, and I appreciate that. And I think we're seeing more men who are able to tap into those emotions, and to recognize that they're more than just the provider, but they also need the affirmation and that sort of emotional support that
Yeah.
comes along with being in a relationship. And we didn't often see that level of sensibility amongst men. So that too is interesting, I believe, as there's a there's greater education about how men should treat women, and the needs that men have, similar to the needs that a woman may have in a relationship as well.
Yeah. I highlighted this comment here from I Kenley. Um, because I think this is interesting. I think we should address this. I Kenley says that women aren't better at cheating. It's just that men don't pay attention to details. How true is this?
I mean, I don't know. I think he's right in the sense that, um, quite often men are already emotionally checked out, so they can't see the emotional tells until it's way too late. So that perhaps is a truism in my eyes, but I do think that there is an emotional intelligence that comes along with being a good cheater that quite often men just don't have. Men are sloppy more often than not. And we grew up with the stories. We grew up with the stories. And that's not to say that there aren't great male cheaters out there, right? But I just know that quite often men are the ones getting caught in the cheating. And I don't think it's just because we more frequently engage in those acts.
Um, okay, I can I can Lee's really I can Lee's cutting it up in the comment section. I can Lee says rare for a woman cheating, not these days.
Exactly.
What does that even mean?
No, I think we are becoming more equal opportunity individuals. I think with movements for empowering women and so on, I think we're seeing more bold, more brave, more daring women. And that is to be applauded. Yes, I'm not applauding cheating at all. I'm just saying that we are seeing shifts in behaviors that we just haven't seen before.
Here's what I think. I just got a message from my husband who says he's going to join us. I think he feels sorry for you because you're the only male here. Um,
Well, I feel I'm holding my own. I'm representing well, but I
you do,
welcome.
I agree. So he says he's going to come on and help. Let's see if he will. But here is what I have to say about more women cheating. I think that we are living in a time now where women are embracing their sexual freedom more than ever in the history of this world. Or perhaps that is not accurate. Perhaps women have always been embracing their sexual freedom, but they have not been doing it publicly. Perhaps that is more accurate. I think in this 21st century that we are living in, women are publicly embracing their sexual freedom. They are pushing back against this notion that sexual prowess is a masculine thing, because it's not. There are women who are out here letting you know that I also have sexual prowess. I also can chop it up in the bedroom. Like, I do not need to wait or sit and hope that I will come across a man who knows his way around the bedroom. I know my way around the bedroom. Why am I waiting on him? I'm like, no, I can handle myself in the bedroom. And so that sexual freedom, the freedom of expression, the freedom not just of expression, but also the freedom to do what she will with her own body. That is also a thing. There is a movement now, a huge movement around a woman's right to determine what happens to her body, a woman's autonomy and governance, where it comes to her body and what she can and cannot do with it. Like, there is a whole movement around that. People were making a ruckus the other day over the abortion bill that they were passing. It is a very, very big movement now. Um, and a lot of pushback against anyone who would want to tell a woman what she can and cannot do. And that transfers over into her sexual freedom and her sexual rights and her right to sexual fulfillment and satisfaction. And that transfers over into her right to sleep with who she wants as well. I mean, it's a thing. Let's not pussyfoot around it. Let's just say what it is. Men have been doing this for centuries. Women have gotten up and decided that they can do it too. Is that okay? Or is this a problem?
It's very odd. I think I like these sort of deep philosophical questions because that you have at the core of these ideas of gender norms, religion, and we are deeply a religious society in Antigua. So while and religiously convenient, might I add, it's not always applied in the same way that it should be. But when you talk about the values that we hold and not hold, they harken back to a time where women were only allowed to be in the kitchen or in the bedroom in terms of where they belonged. And we are moving very, very far away from that. And I think we're going to get to a place where either men step up and become become the men that women deserve, and that means all men, right, or most men. It's either that happens or um, women will always have to keep settling. And I do believe that there is a sense that there are a lot of women out there who are getting with men because they need those men in their lives. And I don't mean in a women cannot do without men sort of way, but in terms of companionship and being in a couple, there are women out there who desire that companionship and therefore need that male support in their life. And that's aside from all of what we believe in terms of feminism, right? I think some people believe that you can't be a feminist and believe that a woman needs a man. But there's a yin to a yang there that you can't dispute in terms of how we correlate as people. And in that sense, we have to do our best as well in empowering women to educate men to be great men. That's all, because when you look at the patriarchy, all men may benefit from the patriarchy, but all men don't benefit equally from the patriarchy. So you have those at the top who are perhaps gaining a lot from having uh, in a position that is less than, but you have all the other men in middle management and below who are like, we just struggling to get up the ladder just as everyone else. So all of those men need to get on board to get to a place that they can see women as equals and be the men in their households that they need to be. Whether you believe in the biblical sense where the man is the head of the household, or you believe it in the more liberal sense that you can coexist and
Mhm.
satisfy each other's needs equally.
Yeah, yeah, got you. I see my husband just popped in. There's about to be trouble, but let me pause and go over into the comment section really quick because we have a lot of comments over here. Greetings, Serene. Welcome in, Queen. Thank you for joining. Hi, Zara. Welcome, Queen. So Anju says some women, in fact, do cheat or have side partners because of financial difficulties, particularly those who don't work for much. It's not that they want to, but for survival. Mm. Uh, Let me pull up another comment here. I Kenley says, I wouldn't define that as cheating. I would put that in a bracket of a woman who wants to live beyond the means when she was initially in beyond the means. I think he means to say beyond the means she was initially introduced to. She sees icing on a cake and she goes for it when she was initially happy with the cake without the icing. Okay, I can't leave. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Let me just run through the comment section and then we can respond to the comments after. So Zara says, just tuned in, not sure if the opposite to what Kadeem was mentioned before, i.e., women wanting companionship without attachment and men not being able to accept such detachment from women. Ooh, I'm gonna make a note of that because we are so going to talk about that. No, Zara, we did not talk about that, sis, but we are going to. And final comment I will pull up and then we will address the comments. Anju says people cheat for different reasons. You can have a main partner but still have other needs to be fulfilled. And a way of getting that is sexual. Of course, without the main partner or boyfriend knowing. Is that not cheating? Cheating is defined differently for people. Okay. And one last one. She goes on to add that there is some serious poverty out there. And I guess this is her supporting the fact that there are people who cheat for the financial gain that it will bring to them. Okay, so several things to address there. Hello, husband. Wait, where is he? I don't see him. What is happening?
I'm somewhere over here. Don't worry.
Yes, somewhere over there.
Yeah.
Hi, Auntie Myrna. So I don't even know which thing we should address first. Let's talk about people cheating for financial um, reasons. I mean, my husband just popped in. He missed this a serious question that we were unpacking just now around why men cheat and who
And
cheats more,
and
men or women.
I kind of believe this is a setup, but
It is not.
I'll,
It is
I'll
not.
try to navigate it as best as possible. But
Well,
Yeah.
let me quickly hear your point of view on that question because we're going to jump. We're not going to stay much longer on that because we've been talking about that for a couple minutes now. But I want to hear what you think about that. We want to
What was the
know.
question?
We were talking about if men cheat more than women and if men are better at cheating than women are. Um, is that it? That's what we were talking about. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we
And the
Well,
started.
reasons why men cheat versus why women cheat.
Yes,
let,
yes.
let's deal with the quantum. In aviation,
Oh boy.
every takeoff should be equal to a landing, right? So if you have more takeoffs than landing, then you're in problems. So if we're talking about men cheating with the opposite sex, it means that every time a man cheats, it's more likely that a woman is cheating as well. So I don't know how.
No, no,
I like the
because
way you think.
he could be cheating with a single woman. Hello.
And the woman could be cheating with a single man.
Also true.
So somewhere along the line, there's a balance. So I don't think we can ever find a formula to decide who cheats more. If the conversation is about why women cheat and why men cheat, then I think that we can have a conversation about that. But I don't think there's a formula to find out who cheats more, because
I
there
think
has to
I
be.
think men cheat more. They definitely do.
Where's your data?
I don't have any data, but they do cheat more because society allows them to.
You know what I'd like to also interject here. I I have listened, as a gender advocate. I've sat in many rooms where women promote and suggest and champion the fact that anything a man can do, a woman can do it better.
Better,
And
good.
I think cheating is exempt from that list. So if you're going to agree that women are the better sex, then let's agree on that for cheating as well. You can't have it both ways.
I see what you did there, Kadim. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But okay, I'm going to come with some data next time. I'm going to come with some data next time. But I think we all agreed, though, that both genders cheat. We're not saying that women don't cheat. They do. Both genders do cheat. But we can also agree to the fact that society accepts a man cheating far more than it accepts a woman cheating. And we even socialize our boys that way. A boy is applauded for having many women. A little girl would be frowned upon if she did something like that. And so that is the only reason why we make the argument that men cheat more. It's not because men are worse than women, because they are not. It's because they are
But
more likely to get away with it than
but
women.
then there goes the answer to the question that you're asking. If society socialize, if you're agreeing that society socialize men to, or they look at men differently when they cheat than women, well, I think that's the answer to your question. We probably socialize that way
Mhm.
to cheat easier than I think I heard Kadim said earlier, a woman will probably think about it, what I mean, see how she can get around this. And earlier in my life, I learned that if you want to make a so-called bad move, you let the woman plan it, because she's gonna cover all grounds, things that we may not. When I say we men, I'm putting a disclaimer here, not Ian, men. Um, Men may not cover their tracks as well as women would do, and we're gonna give you that. So maybe that's why it's easier for a man to cheat than a woman. And don't forget this fact either. Men get caught easier than women do. So
But
maybe
if you're
while
not
you're looking
covering
at
your tracks as well, then obviously you're going to also get caught more.
well, I'm happy that you're admitting that you guys cover
Yeah,
your
I
tracks
mean,
so well that
that's the math. That's the mathematics.
You know what I
So,
find curious about this discussion as well? If you think about it, women are taught to value family and your children and how your children see you and how your partner sees you. And I think men more so are taught to value position and the fact that you have the woman and the children, not necessarily the value of those things. So you'll find a woman would decide not to cheat because she's thinking about, oh, what about my family unit? You know? And a man would cheat and then after the repercussions realize, oh darn, look at what I did to my family unit. I think quite often, and I think one of the commenters brought it up, that for economic reasons drive a lot of women cheating, because they want to do that. They want to provide for the family and keep the family a certain way. So I think that's interesting as well. The reasons behind cheating because of what we value in a relationship, and when we learn the right things to value, because men are taught to value those same things in the same way quite often.
and I would like to
can I just add can I
go
add
ahead.
two scenarios? There's this man who would have five children, five different women, and he goes out to a party and he drives a nice car and everything. And then you have women in the party who knows about the life he's living, five women, five different children, and they still make themselves available. They still make themselves as a bait, for better word, make themselves attracted to him. And so they become number six and number seven. And if a man goes to a party and there's a woman with five children, with five different men, normally she would not be attracted to him. So as we said earlier, men would look at the easy target. Men are hunters, so we look for the easy target. And if you already have five women in the same community and number six is making themselves available, of course they're gonna shoot.
But
So men,
why wouldn't the woman who already has five children be an easy target? She could be just as easily a target as the woman who has none, because she might be looking for somebody to help her look after those children.
but she's not a woman with five children is not gonna be that attractive to a man. She may be
I
easy
guess because he
targeted.
doesn't want that type of responsibility, I suppose.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Some men are sometimes encouraged to cheat
Yeah.
by the prey.
I want to pull up this comment by I Kenley because I think that this is the direction that the conversation is going in now. And I Kenley is saying, agreed, but how can you call that cheating when the woman is sleeping for financial gain? Is there another
Well,
word for that?
I
there's
mean,
another
other than
word, yes.
prostitution, I mean,
Exactly.
what else are we going to call it other than prostitution? It is still cheating, no matter how you put it. She is sleeping with someone outside of her relationship/marriage. So I don't know how else to put it other than that, unless you're gonna call it prostitution.
I feel like that might be what I Kenley is trying to suggest without saying so. I
Uh,
Kenley,
uh,
speak
I
up,
could be,
brother.
it could be cheating for financial benefits. I can maybe put it a little milder.
Well, let me pull up another comment here. Um, from Zara. Zara says, but is her partner aware? What are the parameters of their relationship? Because if sleeping with someone outside of the relationship is a no, the reason doesn't matter. And I think she's trying to say cheating is cheating, whether you're doing it for financial gain or for no financial gain, or you're just doing it for the fun of it. Any thoughts?
You know, I agree. I agree in the sense that cheating is cheating, no matter what. I think cheating matters, or the weight we place on what the cheating was done for depends on the person who's being cheated on, right? So I know personally what I can tolerate as a human being. You know, what I'm willing to say, okay, I get it. I wasn't doing this, so you did this. Humans are humans. I know what my tolerance is. The other people who will not tolerate cheating under any circumstance. Like I I have seen women cheat on their boyfriends, husbands because they're not providing for the kids and they need the money and another man is providing that support. And the other women who cheat because they're not getting the same level of emotional support that they desire from their partner. Um, I mean, you see, what do you do? It is cheating, no matter what the impetus is.
Yeah.
But there are reasons sometimes, and it depends on who you are and what value you place on those reasons that you accept it and you move on, or you decide that hey, this is too much.
Yeah.
It's like guilty with an explanation.
Zara says, I'm going to disagree with you, Therese. Woof. Personally, I believe that women cheat just as much. They're just better at not getting caught.
Yes, Zara.
I
That's
believe
exactly what I was trying to say.
From the mouth of a queen. Well, I can't argue with it. Zara says, and I Kenley is making a valid point here. I totally agree with this. I Kenley says a woman is more at risk of the evidence of cheating, and this is why it's frowned upon. Example, having a love child. Like a woman is the one who would most likely get caught because she's the one who gets pregnant, right?
okay, Therese. I don't know
Thoughts?
who your friends are. Female friends are.
You don't know who my friends are.
No, I think your female friends are angels because I have some friends and you know what? And I have many friends, so I think it's okay for me to say this. People won't have to will have to guess to see who they are. But this love child thing, a woman who's cheating with the intent to cheat don't have to worry about love child because the birth control is where it needs to be. I don't I don't know what you're talking about, Therese.
Birth control can fail. Birth control is not 100%
But
foolproof.
yes, but those instances are few and far in between. What I'm trying to suggest is I don't think that I think because women understand that there's a greater risk for them, they prepare better. They have their stories. They have a background story for their background story. So by the time you already ask a few questions, you're already tired. You're like, okay, it is what it is.
Um, I think the real question here is I don't know who your friends are, Kadim. Kadim, I feel like I need to have a conversation with you in private about your friend circle, Kadim. I'm concerned for you. What? As my grandmother would say, who you keeping with?
As I told you, I'm a conscious observer of life.
So, all right. Here is a good question from Sheila. Thank you for being here, Sheila. Sheila says, I think that the panel may be conflating the two aspects. Who is better at it and who does it more? How do you feel about this? Let's address this.
I still maintain there is no way that we can look for any data to to see who cheats more than who. And so that's where I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay on that side. Until you can bring me data, I
Okay.
think men equally cheat as women.
When and Zara certainly thinks so. Zara says women cheat just as
Let me
much.
tell you, it
But she
it
says
has
that
it
you don't
is
get caught.
yeah, if you probably have uh, I think the people, the younger folks now are more will take more risk than people like me that were born mid-century, and just to socialize and to be with the circles that they're in. You may be surprised the data maybe when you see the data you may flip whatever you were thinking. Are there challenges out there and how they socialize with friends?
Yeah, yeah.
Not cutting friends.
Not Kadim's friends, the
No,
rest, the
the
rest.
rest.
Uh, I, that famous calypso that relates love to getting a driver's license. I want to borrow it and retool it a bit. When you think about getting insurance and you think about people driving on the road, who does in the eyes of the insurance company who drives better, men or
Women,
women? Women,
women.
right? Because they're more patient, they take their time, they plan, they maneuver the roads better. I think it's for all of those reasons that women are better cheaters, to be honest with you. Uh, I chuckle, but it's so true. I don't think I could have found a better analogy. For all of those reasons, women fail to get into accidents because they're more cautious. They think through things. If they see oncoming traffic, they're going to wait. Men will risk the quickie in order for the sake of expedience. Let's say that, and
Yeah.
get caught in an accident. Not a woman. And that is the analogy I wish for us to reflect upon this evening as we
We are reflecting.
Yeah, and accident is the operative word.
Zara says, women have been socially conditioned to compete with each other and continue to delude themselves into thinking that, quote unquote, she can change him and be his, quote unquote, last. I think Zara is offering up an explanation as to why women make themselves available for men's cheating expeditions. And I think this is a good point. I think a lot of women do this. They are pretty sure that they're the one who is going to change him. They're going to make him settle down. I'm the one who is going to marry. I'm the one who is going to change his life. Like there are a lot of women who truly believe this. They convince themselves of this and they therefore make themselves available for men who have a history, who have a record of not committing to any woman that they are with. I agree.
The last King's Forum I spoke to that I got it thrown back in my face that someone very interesting was watching the last King's Forum. So I am going to be cautious in what I say next.
What?
Honest, cautious but honest, and say that I think mhm, women this women excuse bad behavior too much. And because of that excusing of bad behavior, men believe that it is okay. And it's a vicious cycle because, you know, when a woman decides, hey, I've had enough, and he monkey bars to the other woman, she puts up with that same behavior. And the man just never really learns the lesson because there's always another woman there to impregnate, another woman to have sex with, another woman for companionship, you name it. I think in our discussions about power and who should be empowered, I think we often skip over that aspect of it. That if 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 that's not the right fit for you, don't settle for what's not the right fit. Because at the end of the day, you're left with the child, you're left with the heartache, you're left with the responsibility that the deadbeat dad, the F boy, whatever you want to call him now, like all of those things you're left to deal with. But if you say no, up front, when you realize that things don't look too right, then you spare yourself all of that. And I'm not absolving men of the responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying ultimately women are left to raise our children alone and to help curb those incidents or the incidents of that happening. I think it is difficult to say, but we have to also add the added responsibility on a woman to be more discerning so that we have better family units and men are forced to be better because ultimately what's going to happen? We're going to have more and more women settling, and we have broken family units in the future for it anyway. So something has got to give, and I don't know that my solution is a perfect one, but that is where I am now in terms of that aspect of things.
Okay. Zara wants to know what you can tolerate. Tell us what you can tolerate, Kadim. I'm doing research for a friend.
Aber see you later. So let's discuss what I can tolerate.
What's that?
I said a birdie told me that I may see her later, so we can discuss what I.
Oh, I endorse that. I endorse that wholeheartedly. You two should absolutely discuss that later. Absolutely. Endorsed. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's just move on from there. Um, Another question from my dear friend Zara. Zara says, oh, this isn't a question, this is a comment actually, but it is quite a profound one. She says, a lot of wives prostitute themselves in their marriages with their husbands.
Therese, before you let that comment slip by, you just put in a disclaimer that not in this marriage, and then we can
Yes, yes, my
okay,
dear husband, that
yeah,
does
put in
not
a
happen
disclaimer.
in this marriage. Thank you, husband. Let's talk about this. What does this mean? Are our wives prostituting themselves in their marriages with their husbands? And I am going to assume that what Zara means is that women are engaging in transactional sex with their own husbands so that their husbands can provide for them. Is that what it means? If that is not what you mean, please clarify. But that is what I am understanding from that.
But that's not uncommon in my view. I think there certainly men and women are equal opportunity offenders where this is concerned, I believe. I think there there are some women who understand that without giving up the sex, then certain things won't be given in return, be it money, the vacation, the trips, the jewelry, whatever it is. And there's some women, some men, sorry, who understand that if he doesn't provide, then something will be withheld. So I think there's equal opportunity where that is concerned. A lot of relationships are transactional, and that is a sad reality, but it's the truth.
Mm. Husband, do you have any thoughts about transactional relationships?
Absolutely none.
What is going on here? What?
I can put a
Not in
caveat.
that context.
Don't think all transactional sex is inappropriate. I think for some functioning relationships, it could be a means of spicing things up and making a mundane week spicy, right?
Yeah,
I think
but
opportunities for
I,
that to
I
happen.
think I, but I think where that went off the track is to use the word prostitute. I can understand what you're saying, Karim, but I don't think if um if my wife accomplished something and I decided, hey, we got to spice up tonight, let me order a big pizza. I don't think that is um prostituting my wife. I think it's an incentive,
No,
as
Ian,
you
we
know.
that long time. We gone past the sweetness. Is the intent. Is the intent that matters, Is the fact that they both know why they're doing the things they're doing. The intent matters.
Okay. I wasn't legally trained, Karim, so I'll yield.
Heart. You're not even in this bracket. You're doing it out of the love of your heart. But another man, my brother, is not necessarily doing it out of the love of their heart. At least they're not thinking with this mind. Let's say that.
Oh,
Another man would just be doing it because he know he's going to get some sex,
There you go. Which is
which
not
makes
bad.
which makes it transactional.
Yeah, which is not always bad, might I add. But
uh, an
Oh
observer
my,
of life.
observer of life. Um, Zara says, but to be fair, Kadim, to Kadim's point, women are having sex just for the sake of having sex, totally unrelated to cheating. So if we approach it from that standpoint, a woman who is simply having sex is definitely going to take precautions to prevent that love child or STIs because she is detached, aware, and knows how to take care of herself. So, with that mindset, if a woman in a relationship makes up her mind to cheat, she's going to prepare. Makes sense. Let's talk about detachment. Let's talk about this detached sex that Zara just mentioned. Let's talk about the friends with benefits or the sexual relationships that have no strings attached, or we only here for the sex. There is no emotions are involved, no commitment. It's just a sex thing. Those types of situationships, as I like to refer to them, because you can't refer to them as a relationship. Neither party refers to it as a relationship. We're not in a relationship. So if you ask them, so what do y'all have? They don't have a word. It can't be defined. We just meet up and we have sex. Like I have an itch, they have an itch, and we scratch each other's back. And that's all there is to it. It's a situationship. Um, how you feel about that? Why is Kadim is cracking up? What is funny? What you know about this?
I think you have to choose the generation that you ask this question
Well,
because
so what you're trying to say,
I,
this doesn't happen in our generation, like you and I?
I'm trying to
Are
say
we
that
too
that
old for situationships?
people of our let's say older folks may agree at the beginning. This could just be we meet up and this happens, but somewhere along the line, feelings are gonna come into play. I can't see people of the older generation doing this without getting emotional and get their feelings mixed up, and then jealousy creeps in, and then the situationship can become I'm just saying the older folks would not be able to put up with this for long. So somewhere along the line, the situationship will break up, will break into what it was not intended to be in the first place. I think the younger people now, they could just, they're young, full of life and free. They could play this much better than people of the older generation. That's how I look at it.
What do you think, Kadim? Do you feel like the younger folks are better at the situationships than the older ones are, or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think.
Can't even have a date later, so he's trying to be careful.
No, I can't believe we're talking about this tonight.
Uh,
Yeah, so many
Terence, for the sake,
about this
Terence,
past 24
for the
hours.
sake of
It
uh,
is
one
hilarious.
at a time, one at a time?
But I'll say this. I don't think it's a generational thing. I think some people are good at it and some people aren't. Uh, and I think sex is for many people about energy, and once you connect on that level, it's very hard to have a detached emotional connection to a person. I firmly believe that is very difficult. Some people are just more better. Some people are just better at it than others. I think women are not as good at situationships as men are, because they weren't trained to be good at situationships. Many of them, men are trained to be very very good at situationships. But I think quite often you find women becoming more emotionally detached over time because of the intimate connection that they would have with that partner. And it could happen just the same with men. I just think it happens far less with men than it does with women. So yeah, I think situationships are becoming more common, especially more that women are becoming sexually liberated, and they feel that they are in demand, sorry, in command of their own body and their own choices. I think we're seeing more and more situationships pop up, and that's it.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Um, I think that they are, and I also think that it's not. I think that it's not restricted to any particular age category. I know older persons who do this. They don't want commitment. They just want a no strings attached kind of liaison with a partner that they can have sex with, and that's just how they live. They find somebody who is like-minded and who is looking for that same thing, and so they just carry on their situationship. Just last night I was chatting with Zara, our mutual friend Zara, who was telling me we were discussing an individual, a person who has made it clear that this is the life that he has chosen for himself. He doesn't want to settle down. He doesn't want a partner. He's not trying to get married and and do all the things. He just wants to have fun, and he makes that clear out the gate that I'm just here for a good time. And so if the woman is open to it, they have a good time, and that's it, and it's a wrap there. And he's not 20 something or 30 something or even 40 something. He's older. He's a middle-aged guy. And he seems to be having a great time. He seems to be living his best life. What are we going to say? So I don't think this is restricted to age. Um, Zara did ask an interesting question earlier, though. I before I go there, you said that you think men are better at this than women, and I agree. I don't know if I agree with the reason why that you gave. I think the real reason why women are better at this is because women are more emotional. I don't think it has anything to do with the way society has socialized our females or our girls. I think it has a lot to do with just the chemical makeup of the female brain. I think it
You
has to do
know,
with
emotional than
our
natural.
biology.
No, asking if you think women are more emotional than men naturally.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
But I could bring another scenario to that where a man who's in a situationship, as it's called. Okay, you and I, we're just meeting up just for sex, nothing. We have nothing, and then I go to a party and I see my situation ship partner with someone else. Feelings do come into play at that time because at that time you may believe that that's another extra situationship going on. So I don't think it's fair to say that women are more emotional and stuff like this. I think we all are.
Hello?
I, oh, I was going to say that I don't think it's emotions that cause men to behave that way. If they see someone that they are sleeping with out with another person, I don't think it's because they feel emotionally attached to the person. I think men are just territorial. I don't
Okay.
think it's emotional. Men are territorial. This belongs to me. This is mine. Why are you touching it? I think it's that. I think it's just them being territorial and not necessarily because they are emotionally attached.
No, but those feelings are attached to emotions. Those feelings, those actions are attached to emotions. So, in the sense that a man feels happy, he feels fulfilled, he feels empowered when what is his acts in the way it should act. When what is
Sure.
his is in the place it should be. So when you see your side piece out with her side piece, you feel disrespected. Your ego is bruised. You are emotionally affected by that, and you act out. You see, I think sometimes we don't make the leap back to the emotional thing with men. Men unfortunately act on many negative emotions because we are too afraid to feel the positive ones or the ones that are deemed more feminine. We can't properly navigate those. So having tolerance and empathy and being able to navigate those situations in a in an emotionally intelligent way becomes difficult because the emotions that we are supposed to nurture to act along with those emotions that sort of are seen as negative, they weren't developed correctly. So yeah, I don't like when we try to negate that the negative actions we see portrayed by men also come from an emotional place. It's not the best emotional place, it's not what we automatically would jump to, but it's from an emotional place.
Good point. Good point. Let me pull up some comments here from the chat section. I Kenley says no one is good at situationships. When things get sweet and feelings get involved, then that's another state to address. Esther says that's how some of these dysfunctional relationships develop from situationships that result in a child. Saran says, I think the situationship is more socially accepted now, but it happens in all generations and age groups. Thoughts? Situationships that turn into relationships.
Yeah, that that can be a problem because the rules that you would have played by when you're in situationships. There's the the quote unquote privacy. You're sworn to secrecy. And then when you get in the relationship and you think that your partner is having a situationship, now the trust factor comes into play. If you confront them, if they have another situationship, contract signed to be private and to be secret about the other situationship. And that's where I think the
What? So
relationship.
what you have several situationships happening concurrently? What is
I can tell a story of a friend of mine who was married and had a situationship, and he ended up marrying the situationship, and he ended up in another situationship. But the first situationship knows all the tricks, and every move he makes, he get caught. And then he went to like two marriages because of situationships.
Listen, I just saw a comment in the chat section that has me cracking up, right? Saran says, that's Saran says that's why sometimes when you see them old men in the hospital and nobody comes to visit, don't feel sorry for them.
And that's coming from a doctor.
Right. She's right. She's very right.
Saran.
Can you answer an aspiring doctor too?
No, but she's correct, and it goes back to something I said earlier. Women know that what they have is important. Nurturing those relationships is important. The love of your children is important. When men don't establish that connection with their children and all of that, you have 1,000,001 children around, they become disenchanted with you. And then you end up being one of those old miserable men on your deathbed with no one coming to visit. It is sad, but it happens. It happens a lot, you know. Um, it's a sad reality, but it happens.
Yeah, yeah. Greetings, Irie sister. Thank you for being here. Okay, I'm going to throw out one last and final question. And once we've tackled this, then we're going to wrap it up. Last question is, and this is it's a tricky, sensitive one, and that is that people are of the view that women handle being cheated on better than men handle being cheated on. I have heard people say that um, a woman will take her, as Auntie Gens will say, she'll take the knuckle, brush it off, get on with her day. The man, on the other hand, gone downtown to buy a bottle of Gramazone, right? And then we hear that he has landed in a hospital, or God forbid, worse. These are the stories that you hear people telling, right? Um, is it true though that men
I
can't
don't
handle
think
being cheated on?
I don't think this needs any discussion. The data is there. Any
Oh, there's
statistics you
data.
want,
Oh,
and
there's data for this. Mm.
I'm sure there's we can even go back to the news. We can find it there. I mean, yeah, it's true that man, can we use a local term? Man can't take nothing. And it goes back to, I think, our ego, where we think that we should be in control and I should be in control of every situation. And if if that situation arises, it means that I lost control some somewhere along the line. As the Trinidadians would say, there's they use the term tabanca, but tabanca is not the actual knuckle or losing your woman. Tabanca is the period that you go through when that situation arises. And yes, men don't handle that well. And as you say, if you check the grammar zone or the break clothes shop, you will see more men turning up without prescription than women do. I am
Without
not sure that
prescription. What?
yeah, I'm not sure that I can even think about two cases where the women would have inflict hurt on themselves than men. I think I don't think that needs a debate. Why
What,
I don't know.
what do you think, Kadim?
I'm so sorry I laughed at the Grammar Zone comment because growing up it was a truism. Like you grew up knowing that you know man can't take knuckle because of brake fluid or Grammar Zone. Like this is something that was a truth in our society growing up. Like it was something that it was known and laughed at. So I find it interesting, that I guess it has become more of a joke rather than something that we need to look into seriously. That men would kill themselves because they can't handle cheating. And we have seen it play out time and time again. Not so much in Antigua in the sense that we don't have as many gruesome murders as we have seen in Trinidad and Tobago. For instance, Guyana, we hear about it quite often, where a man will brutally kill his wife or girlfriend because he suspects her of cheating or she's moved on. Um, we are seeing cases where women burn down houses and ruin cars and so on because of it. But I think we are seeing now that men would hurt themselves as well because they just can't deal with the emotional toll. And I think that's interesting that we understand that as a society, that men were not necessarily given the tools to deal with a proper knuckle. In the same way a woman was, a woman would move on and a man would stay there. Like, have you, there's a mourning process that a man goes through when the knuckle hits just right. Where you can't eat, you can't sleep. You pull up
Yeah,
in front of the house to see who going. You're missing work. You have a cook. To see who will drop off the lunch. I mean, we joke about the lengths that a woman would go, but a man who's come on, come on.
First of all, first of all,
let me drink some water.
I also need to drink some water, husband. Let's drink together.
Hiding behind hedges at night to make sure that only a certain vehicle pulls up at the house. How many vehicles coming to the house? Who picking up the child from school? Who is the child now calling daddy? Like it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
I can
But Karim,
Kadeem
Karim,
almost sounds like you're talking from experience there. Well,
Karim, you're missing one of the most difficult period that a man would have to go through is to be in company with his other male friends when this has gone down.
The
The
what?
grinding process.
The hide. You have to hide. You can't even be safe with your own friends. Can you imagine the depression? Oh man.
so first of all, let's establish that women also grieve the loss of relationships. It's not just men who grieve. We also grieve our relationships when they come to an end. The fact that we grieve differently doesn't mean we are not grieving. So we both grieve. We go through the grief process. I do, however, think that there is something to be said for the point that you made earlier regarding the fact that men appear to be less capable where it comes to navigating the emotions that come with the grief process. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that because the grief process is indeed a roller coaster of excruciatingly painful emotions. And you do sometimes need somebody to help you walk through that. Even women sometimes need help with walking through that. Many will just go through it on their own and it will eventually pass. It might take a year, it might take 2 years, but it will pass. Men, on the other hand, often don't know they struggle to grapple with those emotions and to work their way through it and find their way out to the other side. And that is a conversation that needs to be had. Why are men struggling to navigate their emotions in situations like these in so much that they would think of harming themselves to escape dealing with the emotions when the women who arguably are being cheated on far more seem to have survival of cheating down pat? What are
Rem-
we teaching our women that we are not teaching our men?
Women turning to Galaxy ice cream and men turning to Grammar Zone. We have to talk about it, Therese.
That's what I'm saying.
We have to talk about it.
Why are we giving why are we equipping the women with the skills to navigate situations like these, while the men apparently are not being equipped with these same skills? What is happening and who is dropping the ball?
You know what I find interesting? I think women are taught that a man cheating is a matter of fact.
Mm.
No, it's a matter of fact. It's supposed to happen. You expect it. In fact, I know a friend of mine when she told her mom that her boyfriend cheated on her. Her mom went, men will be men. It is what it is. No meaning he doesn't love you less. He doesn't love you. So I think there's that sort of understanding that that is to be expected. I think I don't think the opposite is the same. It is the truth for men. There's that expectation. A woman is supposed to be loyal. She is supposed to be there. And if anything less is a bruise to your ego, I think.
Mm. Okay.
Please, no comments from Zara.
I don't see Zara is very quiet. Zara isn't saying anything. But we do have Ike in the comment section saying that he does not agree that women handle cheating better. He says women can handle cheating better. They don't inflict hurt on themselves. They want to burn things down and throw bleach on your clothes.
Yeah, but I think we were discussing um the woman would not normally harm herself. I think that's where the conversation went. That men would harm the whole. Like Kadim said, some people are socialized different. In a couple of Caribbean countries, the stories are there. Mother dead, grandmother dead, children dead, then man shot himself. The
Mm,
man, yeah. A woman will just move on.
yeah,
And probably after she done to the bleach and the clothes, she's gone. I think she's safe, and then the massacre will happen.
yeah, yeah. Esther says if seeking professional help when dealing with these situations becomes a norm, we would probably all deal with these situations better. I concur.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yep. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Oh, Zara is back in the chat section. Zara says, cuckold. Shakespeare wrote about it quite often in his plays. The husbands got cuckold. What on earth does that mean? Zara, I am not a thespian. Please help me. What does that mean? And the way Kadim is laughing makes me think that Kadim knows what it is to be cuckold. What does that
Oh,
mean?
first of all, I can't believe Zara has you on here saying that word. Firstly. Wow, wow. I'm not even
And
going to come. I'm not going to give you the definition.
I told you not to let Zara in the chat.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have listened. I'm sorry. Let's let's give our parting shots and wrap up this discussion, shall we? Because I feel like things are getting out of control. Oh, I like that word. I like that word. I feel like I'm going to use it more often.
Ian, I'm talking to you early. Mano imano. Let's forbid that word.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Kadim, and to my dear darling husband for being here this afternoon. Um, to have this conversation with me. As you know, we had a totally different panel lined up, but then we had a number of last minute hitches and emergencies, and some of our panelists were not able to join us. But the show went on, did it not? So thank you so much for being here. I feel like this was a very, very interesting and insightful discussion. I appreciate your time. And the chat section is still going off. What is happening in the chat section? Saran says, I Googled cuckold and a bunch of porn sites came up.
Hmm. Serves, serves you right. Serves you, yeah,
Saran, oh, Kadeem, what's your parting shot? Give us your parting shot. Give the people your parting shot so we can wrap up this broadcast, please.
I just want to say that you know, no, I just enjoyed this evening. Despite us not being on the track that we were supposed to be on, I think that I learned a lot, and I found it very intriguing discussing some of these important topics. And I don't know, I know there are going to be repercussions from this discussion. People are going to keep this discussion as receipts, and I'm going to hear people quote me from this evening. So thank you, Therese. I appreciate you being in my life. Always a pleasure.
You, you know, I've got your back, Kadeem. I've got your back. Always. Husband, what is your parting shot for our listeners?
I want to say, I think, let me get this out of my chest. I think I was set up by you, by Darren, and by Gavin.
Oh,
Seems like a setup. But yeah, interesting conversation. And Kadim, I hope I didn't say anything that is gonna mess up your next engagement for the evening. So, and when you have
You're,
conversations like this,
and we have
can
the
we
same
keep
last,
them
after
on the chat?
the same last name. We could have been brothers. Like I don't understand. I thought we were in this together.
Yeah. You must remember that we come from coats of many colors, so we'll survive. Don't worry.
Joseph's.
Yeah.
And on that note, and on that note, thank you to all of our followers, all of the people who have been watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. Thank you for being here. I mean, always a queen, the metamorphosis is here. It exists because of the followers. And so, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for interacting with us and making this evening's discussion an exciting one. And on that note, I send you all love and light and abundance. And as usual, remember to be a beautiful week. Bye, everyone.